Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
everyone. Welcome to another episode of Can We Discuss with Yara and Petra. On today's episode, we have a very special guest, one of our closest friends. She's known us يعني نحن دايما بنحب نقول from diapers to adulthood and every stage in between. And she's joining us today to discuss life as a mother and moving from being a mom, a full-time mom, to being a full-time corporate girly and mom at the same time.
Everyone knows already, but it's been a sahru.
I have to say that I'm honestly honored to be a guest on your show, and I'm excited to discuss, pun intended, a topic, a topic that's very close to our hearts, our group chats, our calendars, our conversations.
Yeah.
We have a
Yeah.
lot to say.
I mean, I know some of our audience will know who Vanessa is. A lot of our friends know Vanessa, obviously. But just take a quick intro about like why we really wanted to bring Vanessa in and talk about this. It's been a long time coming. But Vanessa, you became married and a wife way before any of us became married or became wives. And then you became a mom very young. Like you were a young mom relative to today's world and to our friend group as well.
I think in general, she's a young mom, you know, like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
in
She's a young
general.
mom. Yeah. And so we really wanted to talk about this feeling of kind of like living in a parallel reality and a parallel universe and how that has felt. So obviously you got married early 20s, and I think it was like while we were all building our careers and grinding in the corporate world, you were the first to enter a very different world than all of us. And you became, like I said, a wife and a mom. Did you feel like you were falling behind us? Or did you feel more like actually you moved on to something that
You outgrew what we
yeah,
had
like
as
that all of
friendships
us,
in that phase of our lives?
you moved on to something that we just couldn't really understand yet, like what was yet to come?
Hela, I wouldn't say that the word is falling behind. I would say, if I had to be honest, it was more a feeling of loneliness, to be 100% honest with you guys. Like,
Okay.
I remember there was a night where I was holding my extremely colicky child, my firstborn. It was like around like 4 a.m. in the morning. And I literally just felt that maybe I might be the only woman on earth being up at this hour of the night. I'm sure Yara can relate. While many of my friends, actually most of them, were out partying, waking up for their next job in the morning, next opportunity, going about their, life as usual. So to be honest, yeah, I mean, at first it did feel a bit alien to me. And
Yeah.
any mom who would say otherwise, I believe, would be like not being completely honest, regardless of the age, actually. But having to go through this alone, because I was alone. Yani, I had no one
From
from
your
my group
friends
friends,
group, no one.
exactly.
Yeah.
University friends, be it university friends, childhood friends, like in my social circle, I was literally the first one. Yani, I joke now with my girlfriends who are having their first child now. يعني
I'm one
almost
of
a
them.
decade.
أنا on the receiving end of that joke هلا.
Almost a decade of when I did. And I joke about saying, you guys used to come over to my house for internships, because like basically this is what it felt like for everyone. And I even remember Petra coming over and giving Eli his bottle. I still have that picture. Yeah. And seeing you both holding my child, it was like absurd, like I couldn't see myself this young in the mirror, but seeing you guys holding my child, it was absurd.
Yeah,
So,
it kind of makes it all click when you see us as well doing what you're doing with me on a daily. بس انه بحس انه كنا نحس انه إلي لعبة يعني عرفت انه like it's not real.
true.
You know, like
يعني I would say the word is loneliness, and you can't also count on your family members. Like your mom has lived her experience, and that was such a long time ago. And I'm sure she can share some of her wisdom with you, but it's different when you're going through this and none of your friends are. So yeah, and I did experience postpartum, even though at that time I did not know I was, or I was in denial maybe. But yeah, and I went through this phase where I was literally faking it till I made it. Yeah, and looking back at some pictures now where I was seen going out. Yara, you remember my 25th birthday? I had just had Eli. And if you'd see the pictures, I was like out wild partying, you know, doing like those crazy eyeliners and so on. And at that time, I was showing everyone and proving to everyone that I was still, you know, connected with my old self, my old identity, but deep down I was, yeah, it felt very foreign to me, to
حسيت
say the
بهيدا
least.
disconnect يعني وقتها بهالوقت من حياتك كان في this internal disconnection as well, right?
Yeah, it comes naturally, actually. It's unintentional, but it's there.
That's so
I mean,
interesting.
yeah, you have to go through this. يعني كمان biologically, you have the hormones that are shifting, and it takes 9 months to create a child, and then you have, biologically speaking, you need to go through كمان 9 months ترجعي تحسي إنه like literally يرجع كل organ بجسمك يرجع محله. So like biologically speaking, yeah, so biologically speaking, you cannot but feel a bit detached. Yeah.
I think it's interesting because you also went through it at such a young age, and يعني عم نحكي نحن هلا what, like 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and even then, like a lot of the conversations on social media were very different. A lot of
Yeah,
social
true, actually.
conversations were very different. Like ما كان حدا يحكي كتير ب their experience, or like if they did go through postpartum, they didn't speak about it, or they didn't really like set expectations, kind of. And no, guys, like your body is going through so
Yeah.
much, like you can't expect to not feel different, you know?
I mean,
So
it was there, but not as trendy. It was like
not as
as it is
loud.
now. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
very minimal. I used to follow specific accounts for it to feel a bit, and for me to feel a bit take the content is relatable to what I'm like truly going through. It
Yeah.
was it was there, but it was extremely polished to what it is now. It was sugar coated, polished, like everything was very hickey. Like even the nursery rooms, everything was so clean. Everything was not messy. Even the moms always showered, always like wearing those synced outfits with their babies. Like it's anything but that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have, I try to paint that picture for myself as well. But now my advice for other moms, other young moms, like, wait till you experience motherhood down the line, like 2-3 years from now. I enjoy seeing this kind of content, but like one silly example, my kid went through this phase of wearing like very flashy outfits. And you'd be like, it's fine, خلاص, you have to pick your battles, but seeing everything online, هيك being so polished, so everything's neutral, the toys are all wooden made, like, this is not real. Yeah.
Not reality.
Exactly.
I always appreciate moms that are able on social media today to share the chaotic and more like real side. Yani, even not moms, like even just, women who are
Women
going
in
through.
general.
Yeah, women in general. Like, I think we've always been pressured in a way to have this like perfect image, to make things feel like everything is calm and like good and moving smoothly. And I think it's nice to share that it's not really always the case, and it doesn't mean that if it's not perfect it's not right. I think that's the biggest thing that in today's world we're hearing a lot more is it should only be working for you. It doesn't need to be perfect for everyone around you as well.
Vano, يعني I think one thing that might have added to your loneliness is the fact that you were at a whole other stage of life as a new mom.
To be extremely honest, you must know, no, motherhood is never linear. Some days are good, some days are bad. So it all depended, come in, on what type of day I was having. at the time. But honestly, and what helped me was like me constantly reminding myself, like, to each their own pace in life, like when Yara was like growing her career, was evolving her professional life, I was nurturing my family, I was growing on the emotional side. Basically, this is like was serving as a constant reminder.
I think that's important. And like at that period in our lives, obviously, like our daily stressors were very different than your daily stressors. Like we were thinking career milestones, like the project we're currently working on, and you were more focused on keeping a human alive. You know what I mean? So it's very different. But how did you feel like you navigated that gap without growing apart from your friends?
I was very well surrounded, actually, because maybe I was the first or among the first people who had given birth. My friends were actually curious to know, like, like how my
Everyone
day
had
was going.
time. Yeah.
Exactly, everyone had
Yeah.
time. They
Yeah.
wanted to know like the milestones, what kind
He
of
was
milestones
our
we're
child.
reaching.
He was our
Exactly.
child.
Everyone was asking for constant pictures. Everyone was calling, so they had time, and I had time
Uh-huh.
as well.
Yeah.
So I was a mom of a boy, just one
Yeah.
child at the time. I was not working, obviously.
Yeah.
So I had like plenty of time to answer the phone calls and like to share pictures and
Right.
conversations. So yeah, like I was pampered, to say the
So ما
least.
so ما حسيت
Yeah.
there was really, even though we were going through different stages, ما حسيت there was a gap in friendships that you needed to really fill.
It's not about filling gaps in friendships. It's more about my friends understanding, like, إذا بدك, the حجم, the size of the thing that was, giving me a hard day,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
your hard day at work was like very different than mine, like me, my child having a febrile seizure and me going um, off the radar for 1 week, disappearing just to be able to digest, mentally what I've been through.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it was basically them understanding deeply what I was going through. It was never about filling gaps in friendships. Again, I was very, very well rounded, to say the least.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important. We always say like
Mm-hmm.
having your community and having your village show up is the biggest thing. So I can definitely see لأنه أنا sometimes مثلا at this age I always think about how much I showed up for my friends who had kids, and now everyone has kids, and so I'm like, well, who's gonna have a minute in their day to show up for me? You know what I mean? So that's, I know people will show up, but like it's
It'll
just in the
just look
back of your
different.
head.
It'll look
It'll
different.
just look different.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
talked about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
طيب, and then now fast forward nearly half a decade later. Now you have
Actually,
your
half a
baby
decade
girl.
later.
Yeah.
Actually, half a decade later, you have your baby girl. You're a mom of two, and then now you are ready to kind of step back into the office. And that is a massive leap. How did you feel? I feel like if I was in that position, maybe I would have some sort of imposter syndrome. I've been out of the game for so long. Did you feel like the world moved on without you? How did you transition back into it?
Hala,
And I
it's
think,
almost
Vanessa, I
been,
want you to kind of bring to mind when I went back to the corporate world, when I went back to work after maternity leave, مش إنه leaving
yeah,
corporate world, and
yeah. I
I
remember
felt
that long
that
conversation we had. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Hala, we covered so many points. So if you remember any that you want to bring up, please, yeah, the floor is yours, ya Rusha. Hala, to be honest, yeah, I felt like an Englishman in New York, especially the first week. Me going back to work, 5 year, 4 point something years after I had my two kids. Mind you, إنه كمان I had skipped like the tech phase. Remember, like during that time
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
COVID,
The tech
everybody
boom.
just shifted to Teams. Exactly. Like
Yeah,
remote work was suddenly such a thing, and I had skipped
What?
everything, like literally.
Yeah.
it's
So I
crazy
remember
to
like the
think
first,
that.
yeah. So I mean, the first day when I was at work and the IT guy was like fixing up my email and stuff, I had my sister Gitsa on the phone, and then he was asking me all these questions, and she was like listening to the conversation. He was like, "Do you know how to use this, that?" And I was like, yeah, I answered that to everything. And then when he left off Gitsa, I was like, what, do you? I was like, I have no idea what this guy was talking about. Like, I'm
You're
gonna
like,
try, fake it till you make it, I'm just gonna try to pretend that, like, I have access to all the information that I need. There's Google. There wasn't even ChatGPT at the time, yani. So there was Google. Like, I had to, I just have to whip
figure
it,
it out.
yani. Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, the tech thing also Kamena and like played a major role in me feeling like,
Yeah.
I still have a long journey to catch up. The first 6 months were the hardest. Yeah, and I know Yara was going through postpartum after she went back to work, بس إنه أنا كمان it almost felt like that لأنه it felt أكيد the imposter syndrome. You feel like you're showing up every single day. You got your shit together.
Yeah.
You're showing up for your kids and stuff. But for me, like, I believe in life, there's always something that comes at the cost of something else. So
Yeah.
it's safe to say that I lost my social life at the time. Like, literally, انشقت الأرض وبلعتني. Like, my friends were like, where the heck are you? And
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's one of the points, right, that
somewhere
we
has to,
talked about.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, I remember I told Jara, give yourself some grace. Like, أنا
Yeah.
طلعت literally by my social life. I disappeared. I was going through a lot. I wanted to show up at work. I wanted to prove myself. I wanted to show everyone that I'm still up to date. I'm still relevant, and I wanted to show up for my kids. And also, Kamen, I was struggling with the guilt feeling at the time, which thank goodness it's safe to say, no, I got rid of it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
However, I was frustrated and I had a lot of anxiety. And I
Yeah.
remember what helped me the most, Kamen, was turning my phone into sleep mode at 10 p.m. Detoxing from the screen because I was exposed to the screen the entire day, and I just like wanted to shut my brains off at night. Even the dynamics between my husband and I, right in the beginning of it, was يعني was also something very new to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Kid, it's a
it
shift
was,
in dynamic.
trying, yeah, 100%. Like
Yeah.
you have to understand, the moment like you walk into the house, you have to like lean into your feminine energy, like you
Yeah.
cannot just behave as a
Yeah.
man because at the end of the day, like you're obviously
ما
not,
فيك
Yeah.
تحسسي انك انت you're the boss
Yeah,
كمان كل الوقت.
exactly.
بعدين I
I
wish this
remember
hate
one thing that when we were talking, you and I, when I went back to work, and you're like, "Shoo, how was the first week?" عم تحكي and you're like, "Shoo, how
Hmm.
was the first week?" قلت لك ليكي هلا رواق بس I know that I'm gonna start feeling very overwhelmed. And you go, يارا خلفتي انت من 6 اشهر، انا رجعت على
Yeah,
الشغل بعد ما
4 years
ليانا كان
later,
عمرها
4.5 years later.
3 سنين.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like بعد ما ليانا كان عمرها 3 سنين أنا رجعت على الشغل وستيل حسيت حالي I'm super overwhelmed and she was in school all day long. كيف أنت وابنك معك بالبيت. Remember?
Yeah.
And I think when I look at that perspective as well, that change, إنه it's true when you're a stay-at-home mom longer, you don't forget that part of who you are. Fine, there's that corporate person, that go-getter, that business-minded human being is still there. Best you do have to, and I don't know if this is true for you, but I would assume that you have to dig so much deeper to find that person again and to find
Mm.
that balance. لأنه you went through 5 years of your life knowing the balance of being at home, catering to your children, to your family,
Yeah.
to your husband, and then now adding that on top of it is a shock. It's a shock to your system.
It is. Yeah, it is صراحة. Even حتى كمان everybody was used to me being at home like
Yeah.
24/7, and
Yeah.
now I'm like
Yeah.
spending 8 hours a day outside of the house. And I do have a village, honestly. I owe a lot to my mom and my mother-in-law. I have great support from my friends as well. Great support. And I remember when I decided to go back to work, it was something that yeah, I was silently thinking about, maybe in my head, but I had never like, verbally discussed it with my husband.
Yeah.
And the day that I went for that interview, قد ايه بسرعة I said yes to the job opportunity. قديش I understood إنه I'm so freaking ready for this, you know?
Yeah.
Like I remember even that day, I told everyone around that I was going to check محل who sells curtains ببيروت. يعني بعدت المشوار كتير. So I was like literally I don't know how much time I'm gonna be spending there. So and I did not know if I wanted to share because also كمان ما كنت عارفة حالي if this is something that I really wanted. بس again يعني قد ايه بسرعة قلت yes. I was like when can you start? I was like tomorrow. بعدين رجعت فكرت براسي إنه how يعني حتى my kids I do the drop offs, I do the pickups, حتى ماني مسجلتهم بالباص and I was like in the middle of the year. يعني how did I accept the offer إنه saying I'm starting tomorrow. بس deep down I felt like I wanted something more for myself لأنه not actually right in the beginning of motherhood. يعني towards the end around like the 4th year I started feeling إنه all of my conversations with my husband they rotate around my kids. يعني Liana said this, Ellie said that, the teacher told me this, you know what I mean? Like he used to come at night and he wanted to go out and hang out and spend time with the kids and I'd be like overstimulated AF, you know, like just I'm gonna كنت literally قلن I'm gonna go رح أقعد بالصالون please like just give me 10 minutes. I just need to be by myself, you know, I need to gather myself. And I'm someone who like basically يعني I try as much as possible to يعني إذا بدك parent in a gentle way where I can of course. هلا usually بعد الساعة 6 يعني خلص عرفت بيتبخر
That's a
gentle
different
parenting. It just
conversation.
yeah the gentle parenting leaves the room usually after 7 p.m. But yeah, I did feel like you know my conversations were shifting. I felt like he was exposed to adults the entire day and he'd come up talk to me about عرفت things that were not necessarily related to the kids and he had his own world whereas أنا حسيت إنه this is and I also felt this, it's important also to talk about this because I also felt a bit of shame when I felt that I wanted to go back to work. It's as if يعني it's the fear of being judged by other people that you're not fulfilled enough in motherhood and what you have. You know what I mean?
So interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it, feeling like maybe someone is saying, oh, maybe she's not fulfilled just being a mom. But at the same time, and you touched on it before where you said like you tried to remind yourself that I can be multifaceted and I'm not just a mom. I'm also
100%.
Yeah.
And I remember once after I went back to work, I was asked by a mom, a friend of mine actually, and she was like, no, how do you manage? And I told her there's a certain schedule, and it took me some time to build the schedule, obviously. And again, it's never linear. Like some days you feel like you have everything figured out, and some other days you feel like you have barely your head above waters. Yani, let's be very honest. But I remember telling her like, no, yeah, it gives me pleasure. I'm fulfilled. I'm a much happier mom. I'm a much happier and interesting wife, you know, I'm much happier friend, you know, because I feel like I'm in touch with my own identity away from performing my duties as a wife and as a mom. So she was like انه هيدا الشيء عن جد عم يعطيك السعادة. And هون I felt there was a bit of judgment, you know. And I was like, no, yeah, definitely.
Yes,
and I'm not judging you either. Like, you know what I mean? No.
No,
I've tried both, honestly. And I keep reminding my husband and I tell him always, no, I'm very grateful. No, you gave me the financial security كمان to live those years with my kids.
Very important.
You know what I mean? يعني صراحة. يعني this is why also I may have never يعني discussed this with anyone else بس إنه هلا it feels weird saying it on air with you guys بس إنه this is كمان الشيء اللي بخليني to think twice about having a third because I did spend the most like emotionally fulfilling years with my kids at home, you know. I was there for their firsts and I feel like it might be like unfair, you know. I know I'm not gonna be the same mom to that child and obviously I'm not the same mom to Eli as I am to Liana or vice versa. I was a different version of myself.
Yeah.
بس yeah, this is something that I do consider now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Listen, it's a big thing. It's a big thing
Mhm.
to think about all of these things. But it's like you
Yeah.
said, right? It doesn't take away from you being good at either part of these personalities
Mhm.
or versions of you. You will
Yeah.
show up differently. You do show up differently, but it doesn't mean that's different is a bad different or a better different. No, it's just different. That's it.
100%. And guys, like, I'm not even a mom, but like حتى when I started my new job and my dynamic at home shifted عن جد, like in
أكيد.
terms of I used to be like Jason would come home every single day for lunch. I would cook him a meal, like يعني I would still have energy to make dinner, or he would make dinner, or to go out or whatever يعني. Now I feel like the 3 days when I'm in the office and I started my new job and it takes a different mental toll on me. أنا
Yeah.
حتى إنه I feel like shit إنه in the beginning I would feel guilty, like إنه مثل
Yeah.
أمه إنه مثل a mom I would be like شو أكلت اليوم, like أعطى الهم إنه أكله, عرفت إنه let's go figure out, like let's make
Oh,
sure you
that's
have
so cute.
leftovers. No, but
بعدك
you
تعتلي
know what I
همه.
mean. عن جد إنه
بس
إنه it resonates with
لا
me,
إنه when
like
you have
in
kids
that
بتصيري
sense.
تعتلي همهم. That's what I mean يعني.
ما هيك وحياة الله but that's just goes to say that, like, I feel like as women we have that nurturing side, and we have the side where we want to show up in every single version of our life, but sometimes it's okay for you to give yourself grace and to just be like, you know what, I need a minute, like no matter what you're going through, if you're a mom or if you're not a mom, يعني everyone's gonna go through ebbs and flows, and it's
yeah.
important to be able to recognize it, have a good support system around you. Like Jason doesn't even think about his lunch, but I'm sitting there thinking about his lunch. He doesn't even give a shit. His mom بياكل كل النهار. But it's just funny, it's just a funny thing that, like, أنا حسيت like I carried guilt for it, and I would be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. أو ارجع على البيت إنه ما أنا جليدة. Like I just want to work out and like pass the fuck out,
Like
and
it,
it takes its toll.
once you make your peace with the idea that you're not gonna be like everything for
100%
everyone.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think life gets easier in general, whether you have kids or not,
It
you know?
does.
بصراحة.
It does get easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I
Like I
think
Mic
one
drop.
important thing that we need to remember always is that throughout the phases of your life, you're going to have different priorities. You're going to be
yeah.
100%. And Anna, when I was pregnant, I was 120% at work. I was pregnant. يعني كنت ماشية رح خلف. And I remember we were in a meeting, me and my manager at one point, and she looked at me after the meeting. She's like, please go home. I feel like you're gonna give birth in the office today. And then when I gave birth, I was 100% for Daniel. And then going back to work, it's trying to find that balance. So I think you're always going
Yeah.
to be figuring out that balance, and it's
Yeah.
going to shift. And I think that's completely okay. And Vanessa
Yeah.
she just spoke to us for, I don't know what, 40 minutes now about how that balance shifted throughout her journey as a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
هلا
sure.
also كمان I have a bit of sensitivity to the word balance. يعني once I made my peace with the idea that I was never going to have balance,
Yeah.
I call it more of an integration. This is
I
how
like
Priorities,
I
that.
see
different
it.
priorities.
Yeah. يعني
Yeah.
for example, it's never 50-50. يعني obviously when I'm
Yeah.
at home, because my child is sick and I'm working
Yeah.
remotely, أكيد I will, obviously I will be leaning more into my child's needs, يعني obviously.
Yeah.
And when I'm at work at the office and working late, I know I can call my mom and tell her that she will be putting the kids to bed. Yani, of course, on that day, I'm not the first person they see, or I'm not the first person they show their drawings بس يرجعوا من الباص, or these cute little stories they share أول ما يوصلوا على البيت and so on. So it's never 50-50 صراحة. So it's
Yeah.
more of an integration, and I feel like women nowadays they know how to do that, how to have the
It's like
work
multitasking. It's
and
like
home
multitasking.
coexist, exactly, coexist and at their own term يعني. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's key, I think, is at your own terms. That's the key phrase that I think is like the takeaway from the episode, is like everyone's balance, right? Everyone's integration is going to look different. And as long as it's something that's working for you and your family, that's the most important thing. And yeah, we're never going to we're going to maybe relate to each other's experiences, but no one's fully going to understand exactly
Yeah.
what you're going through as a human. Every human experience is very, very unique, and that's what makes it beautiful. And so I guess maybe like for us to kind of start wrapping up the episode, now that you're finally, I know you're on a different stage of the timeline, like سابقة الكل, but إنه is there finally relief in seeing your friends now, like finally fully sometimes understand what you went through?
Yeah, 100% صراحة. It's such a huge relief, to say the least, يعني. Like, because now they do understand what it's like, and it's not a competition anymore of who's more tired, you know? Like, as
Yeah.
Zara said in the beginning of the episode, like, we're all just tired. I have like a quick 10 minutes, like, gap time. If you want to talk about something, just give me a call. I know I can send her a long voice message. I know, like, I hope she never judged me. I hope so, صراحة. But usually it takes me like 3 to 4 business days to answer the long voice messages. هلا نحن كمان technically يعني they're like podcast episodes مش voice messages, بس إنه like literally I have to replay the voice message to Isma and to gather all the data points that she covered, so I have to answer every single one of them. But yeah, now I feel like I'm less judged, you know, for not being there all the time, you know?
Yeah. Well, we're happy that we all finally caught up to you and we're able to give you that
finally
relief. I think in today's world, يعني حتى if you're not a mom, everyone is so distracted with their own shit that it's like you don't even need to be a mom to take 3 to 5 business days to answer your messages, like, and we'll understand.
I don't believe in urgency culture, honestly. And that's not a thing for me.
It's literally it makes people sick, and I think like that's the worst thing that's ever come about is this urgency culture. Maybe if you can leave us with like one piece of advice to young moms who are going through maybe like a little bit of a different phase than their friends are, what would you say?
Obviously enjoy it, because this isn't going to last forever. I know this is a super mainstream advice that you would hear all the time, but it really does go by super fast. Like, I'm there now. My eldest is, yeah, exactly. My eldest is 7 years old and my youngest is 5. So trust me, I look at them and ask myself, like, where does the time go? Exactly.
I look at them and think the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you're never behind. Never behind. You have time, whether you're 30, 40, like, you have time. And
you're
you know,
on your own
just give
schedule.
100%, and like always give yourself some grace, you know? Always. Yeah.
That's my favorite thing, is always now to say like I need to give myself the grace that I offer other people, and sometimes we're our own harshest critics, and so I think it's always important to, you know, just think of that for yourself as well. And yeah, thank you for sharing your story with us, Vano.
I love you, girls. Thank you for having me.
Love you so much.
We love you.
You're now like our blueprint for being a mom. We learned a lot from you, so thank you.
I don't know if I'm worthy enough, to be called that, but
of course you are.
I'll wear this badge very proudly. Thank you.
Yeah, we love you.
Love you.
And everyone, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Can We Discuss with Yara and Petra. And as always, come right back here in 2 weeks for another episode. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.